How you doing, kids? Since I don't really like ever putting up more than 2 videos a day, more than 1 video a day, I'm going to put up 2. Because, for the simple fact that I want to cover this topic for a while, and also I'm getting ready to go to Korea, so I won't exactly have internet for a little bit. So, interesting thing happened to me. A while back, like the first couple of videos I did, I put in my Yahoo email address into the caption bar, which I think is like that way. I don't know. Anywhere over there, I don't know. Anyway, and that has led me some interesting conversations, instant messaging, emails, a couple instances of phone call. However, what was interesting is that this conversation I just had recently was that Americans themselves have this very adolescent mindset when it comes to certain topics. Certain things that just seem to somehow make us feel ashamed. I don't know why. We start talking in low tones. We start, we start getting afraid, we're going to get caught by our daddies or our mommies, And it got into, it became interesting to me when you talk about certain topics, such as the topic of sex. Now, you can't talk about sex without it becoming something lewd or something crude or disgusting or hence allegations, things left unsaid. When you talk about sex, now I look at sex in this way. And she asked me a question. Can I discuss my sexual practices with my significant other? With anybody? Yes. Because I can make the distinction between the act and the belief in the act. That being said, the act, sex itself is just an act. That's all it is. It's a physical act that we go through, that we enjoy. Now, whatever emotions we attach to that act is what ends up changing our perceptions of it. We were raised to believe that sex, discussion of the topic, was taboo. So we gained this teenage mindset about it. It amazes me that we believe ourselves to be, some of us believe ourselves to be, we're some of the most culturally advanced people on the planet. That somehow we have the right and the will to enforce our standards and belief systems on everyone else in the world. That's very childish. That's very bullish in the park thought process. Now, understand that, yes, we do this to an extent, to further our own political gains, to figure our own power, to do whatever we have to do, become the biggest guy on the lot. Because right now, we are the biggest dog in the yard. Because of that, we have to somehow, we end up becoming everybody's big brother, looking out for everyone else. But how culturally advanced are we when something as simple as sex confuses us? It confuddles. It makes us, it shames us. I can only attribute this to the fact of our American puritanical roots, our religious roots that still hold very true today as they did back when we landed. Back in 1492, when Columbus landed and the Mayflower came, shortly thereafter, our own religious beliefs followed us, and the stigmas involved around that. Those religious stigmas still hold today when we talk about sex. Sex is an act, my friends. Same things I've always said. When we feel emotionally attached to someone, do we give any emotional attachment to it? Now, most people, women and men included, can have absolutely no emotional attachment to people and still have sex. It's hypocritical to believe that men and women are different on this fact. Women are as sexual creatures as men are, but they have the reserve, because of social stigmas that are attributed to it, to curb their discussion of it. Now, my sexual practices I can discuss with most anyone, because I don't hold an emotional attachment to those acts. That's all they are. Simply it. Once we allow emotion into the equation of gender or sex or bias or the act itself, do we allow ourselves to muddy the waters of logic, to muddy the waters of our own adult rationalizations? You go overseas, to any country overseas, mostly in Europe you'll see this, and in Asia, where they have a very adult viewpoint of it. There's even been cases recently on the books where political groups, religious groups, fanatical bents in our society today that have condemned such works as Michelangelo's David, or Michelangelo's Sistine Chapel, because it shows nude paintings. So people get all uppity about it, so they want to censor these beliefs. They want to hold fast to those childish truths that they had and that mindset that they would not allow themselves to think beyond their own borders, to think beyond their own mind, that they want to enforce their will on everyone else. In order for this to happen, we have to remove emotion from the topic of sex. We have to separate ourselves to look at with an adult mind and stop acting like an ashamed little kid that you just caught with your hand in the cookie jar just because you talk about it. Just because you talk about something doesn't mean you're going to go out and randomly fuck everybody you see. That's where your own ethical beliefs come into play. That's where your own rationalizations come into play. And to simply discuss a topic does not mean you're going to inspire anyone to do it. It's insane to think that way. People have their own minds and they have their own decisions about a lot of topics, and that is where the distinction lies. Emotion muddies the waters of logic and reason. Emotion clouds our judgments, clouds our beliefs, clouds us, and makes us less than who we are. So maybe if we can grow up a little bit in our own mind, then maybe we can grow up and becoming more adult in our mind. We stop acting like the bully on the parking lot. So until next time, whenever that is, this is the Space Monkey saying, here endeth the lesson.